Hi, my name is Benton. I'm Senior Research Associate based at the UCL Knowledge Lab in the UK. Today I'm going to be remotely presenting my research about location-based smart device security within low-rent homes. This is work I've undertaken in collaboration with my colleagues Mina Vasalou and Sarah Turner. Smart devices like voice assistants, cameras, thermostats are increasingly being introduced into our homes, often with the intention of improving our well-being or comfort, but at the same time they may raise new security concerns within a place that we really want to feel secure and in control. These devices are not always installed by the occupant. For example, in the case of rented accommodation, this can raise additional security concerns for the tenants who are in more vulnerable positions than people who own their own homes, particularly those living in subsidised or affordable rental housing. And in the UK, this is known as social housing, which is a focus for our research. The social housing sector provides rental accommodation for around 4 million people in England alone, with tenants often being elderly, having dependent children, or they may have a long-term illness or disability. As a whole, this group includes some of the more vulnerable people in society. Given their mission to provide affordable accommodation for those most in need, social housing providers are looking to meet the government-required housing standards in the most cost-effective way possible. Smart devices, and in particular, smart energy devices like thermostats, are starting to be seen as one way to achieve this. For example, by identifying potential disrepair issues earlier by flagging up spaces in the home that are humid or where tenants aren't using the heating very much, and smaller scale rollouts are now taking place. Although this would also benefit tenants by helping to improve their living conditions, it's important that at this stage that we take time to consider any negative impacts such as security risks of having the devices in the home. Where these devices are located is interconnected with the surrounding social practices, and the location of the device can have implications for its utility as well as the security of the tenant. This is something that we wanted to explore more deeply within our research. So we set out to answer two specific questions. The first one considered the benefits that tenants anticipate if these smart devices were introduced to their living spaces and how they might integrate them into their homes. The second question focused on the security implications of the choices of location for these devices, and also how tenants might envision mitigating them. So in our research, we recruited 11 diverse adults who were aged 18 to 65 and lived in social housing across the UK. They came from a variety of settings, which included living alone, with family, or in shared accommodation with flatmates. 4 participants shared with us they had a disability or health condition, and participants also had a range of expertise with technology or using specifically smart devices. To situate our research within the tenant's home context and their existing relations with the landlord, participants were asked to imagine that their housing provider had decided to install a smart heating system in their property, and they had the opportunity to customise the functionality and technical security of 3 smart energy devices which could be integrated into this system. Each participant was required to take part in a short introductory interview, as well as a longer reflective exit interview, which were either face-to-face or online. And in between these, participants completed a week-long home-based task, which involved customising the 3 smart device probes. We wanted to arouse participants' imagination of what it might be like to live with a smart energy device in their home, which led us to draw inspiration from speculative design approaches, as well as bespoke booklets from the work of SIGCHI et al. To trigger speculation, we used physical 3D printed smart device probes, which were intended to create an imagined near future through combining aspects of existing technologies, which included a smart motion sensor, camera, and voice assistant. Participants were then asked to customize these devices by placing different blue stickers, which represented what they wanted the device to do, and orange stickers, which represented the security features they wanted the device to have. The application of the stickers was guided by a situated speculation booklet designed for the research, with one per device. An example you can see on the screen is for a smart voice assistant. Each of these booklets gave more information about the task, context, and the different functionalities represented by the stickers. Once these stickers had been physically attached to the devices, the booklets instructed the participants to place the device somewhere within their home, and also prompted them with a series of reflective questions about the benefits, their security concerns, and also location preferences in relation to these devices once they had been living with them in their home for at least 24 hours. In the interest of time, for the rest of the talk, I'm going to focus on discussing our findings in relation to this second research question, but you can find our full findings for both questions in the paper. The qualitative thematic analysis that we undertook for this second question generated 3 interconnected themes. Firstly, imagining the audio, video, and motion data that these devices would collect within different rooms in their homes sparked worries amongst participants about placing the devices in intimate spaces. For example, Helena said, the bathroom or the bedroom, just having privacy. When you are dressing and things, I wouldn't want that anywhere near those places. Previous research has shown that devices placed in more private places in the home, as opposed to, are often used to perform specific rather than open-ended tasks, with our findings supporting a more complex account of the specific task of managing energy use, indicating that the placement of smart devices could greatly vary based on how tenants interpret its goals, the convenience of its placement, and the inclination to creatively appropriate it. Secondly, tenants pay close attention to whose data was collected by the device across different spaces within their homes and discuss the use of the proposed security features, for example, putting restrictions on the capture of other people's data within communal spaces. However, for some tenants, these security features were not sufficient and could even introduce the possibility for social tensions, such as the red warning light that indicated the smart voice assistant was recording. With Mario explaining he would feel uncomfortable about asking his friends or guests to record them. Tenants considered security in relation to others in different ways. Some tenants felt that having a device in a communal space afforded them control to adjust their social interactions there, but this introduces trade-offs with their autonomy and freedom of expression in the home, whereas others remove the devices from these spaces, given the unpredictable conversations that might arise there. However, this limited the direct benefits of interacting with these devices more frequently. Therefore, whereas tenants all shared the same social norms, the way they used location to regulate these varied and always presented a trade-off. Thirdly, most tenants reported surveillance risks resulting from the use of these smart devices, thus feeling watched and tracked within their home. However, they had different approaches to managing these risks. Some removed more concerning functions of the devices or used the security features to monitor what the device was doing. But others, like Grace, strategically used the location of the device to regulate her security, placing it in the hallway, which she redefined as a public space, explaining the camera in the hallway because if I open the door, I'm willing for the world to see me. I'm willing for the camera to see me. I'm going to treat any information as in the public domain. These findings showed that tenants used a range of both social and technical approaches to using security features in the home to mitigate their concerns around being surveilled. Taken together, our findings indicate that housing providers, as well as smart device designers, could potentially be shaping tenants' future lives in profound ways through their choice and installation locations of this technology. Given existing power imbalances between these parties, it is important that both housing providers and smart device designers ensure they act in ethical ways when embedding such technology into tenants' homes. We therefore propose a number of ethical implications based on this work. For example, housing providers should provide opportunities to discuss and pilot with tenants the placement of smart devices prior to procuring and installing them in their homes. And smart device designers should extend or reimagine how technical security features can consider the location of devices within different types of home. You can find the full list of ethical implications within our paper. In summary, our empirical work offered three main contributions to the domestic smart device security literature: a greater insight into social housing tenants' particular and varied security concerns, a situated understanding of how people place and imagine living with smart devices in their home, and a set of ethical implications targeted at smart device designers and housing providers who are looking to utilise this technology within tenant homes. In light of the potential for future widespread imposition of smart devices within low-rent housing, we hope that this work provides a first step in examining one key aspect of the associated security concerns, highlighting the particular support needs of this underrepresented group. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I will be able to answer them remotely during the conference, or feel free to email me or check out our Project Child website for further information.